flat Earth out the window.
Definitely.
Which is ironic that for some reason people still, I didn't know that people still believed in that.
Yeah,
They do. I honestly didn't. I thought that people didn't believe it anymore. And then I watched a few of your videos debunking, and it's hilarious to watch you debunking them because
I never thought I'd be having to spend my energy debunking flat Earth videos. I mean, but it's that there's a conspiratorial movement that they're
well, it's
pushing.
just insane. I mean, it could be explained so simply. As I said, I mean, you could just say, well, then how does the equator work in your, as in a flat Earth, if you're talking to a flat Earth person,
Yeah,
say, well, how does the equator work?
exactly. Yeah.
By
Well, yeah. I mean, they got the Hadley cells. You know, you got the doldrums. There's no way it would work.
It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
That's why I said this is interesting. And I'll still, if you don't mind, I'll still call your theory a theory, even though I know that
It's okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
I call it a theory. That's the interesting part. Part about your theory is that it bars is wrong. It isn't convex. It isn't concave. Those are the only two options.
Exactly. Yeah.
The only two things that would equivalently. I mean, you're talking about mathematics. Literally every way would make sense, just because you would have to, as you probably been able to prove in your video that I might not have watched all the way through, is that you were talking about just turning it upside down. You see, so
yeah. That's
that's the ironic part, is that you're talking about something that if it wasn't the way it was, and you explained it very well. As I said, I still have to do my numbers, and I actually did some number crunching on this. And the way that 182,000. I'm looking at the way that light is now when it comes to refraction. So now I have to do a lot more numbers. But I will say that it's very interesting.
yeah.
To say the least.
Well, you know what? In the video, I was explaining how they say that due to atmospheric refraction, you will see the sun 2 minutes before it actually rises. So they will say that the atmosphere will, due to the refraction in the atmosphere, it will lift the sun higher in the sky than it actually is physically. But if you just understand what I was just demonstrating there, if we're on this convex ball and we have this ceiling of an atmosphere, that ceiling becomes a concave ceiling. And so that's going to push the imagery, it's going to push it down. It's going to push the sun down. It's not going to lift it up.
Right.
And so that's...
I actually enjoyed the sunglass.
Yeah, the sunglasses. That shows it right there. And so...
Right, I actually enjoyed that because it shows the way that, depending on the lenses of the way that we are receiving the light.
Right.
See, if we're receiving, if there is some type of glass ceiling, how many kilometers you said?
About 100. Yeah, 100.
Well, see, if that is there, then of course it would make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Through a different lens. Of course, our eyes would pick up the light differently, and we would then see a convexer.
Right.
Instead, we are seeing something that would be completely different. So it's, as I said before, it's as you can tell in my stuttering, it's kind of fun to actually see some of these new things. As I said, I will still look at it as a theory, but I will say that it's very intriguing.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's things that I've never heard.
Well, did you? I'll send you a link to my comet video, and once you how I make the comparison between I was mentioning before how you see through a lens in photography and it creates the coma aberration. It's exactly how we see comets in the sky. It's just like, it's so simple to understand. But I'll send you a link to that one.
Yeah, please do, because this is I mean, I've already said it before, and I hate to repeat myself, but I mean, if this is true, the court cannot change everything. And this is the other thing that I was actually thinking about while watching it. Is I'm thinking, okay, this is changing. This is basically this is Tesla-esque, because Tesla always thought that things worked on magnetics more than gravity.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so this is now working, as we had spoken about before the other day, that this is now more about magnetic and the way that, as you said, protons, electrons, how all of those work differently now. I mean, even basic, like when you look at the way that we walk on the earth, they say that we don't actually ever touch the ground fully because we're semi-floating, due to the way that neutrons, electrons, and protons work. But I mean, this is fully magnetic. And
yeah, I mean, there's there's videos out there like in a cathode ray tube where we have the the electron gun in the back, and
right.
and I think I forget what gas it is. I think they use, I'm not really sure, but anyway, the guy is holding up a magnet to the CRT, and there's a beam of light that's projecting right down the middle of the tube, but when you hold the magnet to it, it bends it all around, and so it's definitely, light is definitely affected by magnetism. There's another guy on YouTube, real smart guy, his name is Ken Wheeler, and he shows how magnets bend light, and he talks about the centripetal convergent force and the centrifugal divergent force, and how those two forces actually work together like in an inverse proportional way. It's really
Ken Wheeler.
Ken Wheeler. If you just type,
that name sounds familiar. I don't know why.
Yeah, if you just do a little YouTube search, just type in Ken Wheeler magnetism, you'll pull up his channel and you'll see a bunch of videos.
I should have said Ken Wheeler. Yeah, because this is, I mean, as I said before, it would be groundbreaking if we could prove this, if we could actually get this proven.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's...
Especially if nobody's done, I mean, well, for one, if no one's, just because I've watched a few of the videos now that you've done, and you put a lot of information, just a lot of time and energy in these things, and, as I said before, I don't know if you are who you say you are, but I'm sure that might have been one of the things that might have
hindered the
yeah. But at the same time, leaving that off the table, just taking that part of the equation off the table, you have done some pretty interesting things when it and this is coming from a mathematician, someone that worked on math and mathematics and algorithms. This is quite interesting to try to look up. As I said, I was trying to do my numbers, and I was actually astonished on, as I said before, I mean, it doesn't work except for the two. Either it's convex or it's concave. There's only two options.
Well, we see sphericity. We see sphericity in the heavens, and we see sphericity with the cartography of the Earth. So it's got to be one of the two. And obviously,
I'll be very frank with you. That was the part that kind of frightened me.
Yeah.
Not the fact that that this could be true. It was the fact that someone if you are who you are, just because of the amount of, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that I have a respect for the amount of information you've gathered, and especially the fact that the information you've gathered so far, I haven't found really any flaws in it.
Right. Which
then frightens me. Makes me think, okay, this is an intelligent human being.
Yeah, I'm not crazy.
But that means that if this is all true, what if the other thing that he says is true too?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Humble me to such a degree of even having this conversation makes me very nervous. So
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of nerve-wracking.
Don't worry, man.
Very humbling. So,
Yeah.
So it's a nerve-wracking thing. So, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying to find a flaw in it, because that is what you do in any theory. You try to, before even trying to solve it, you try to find the flaw.
Yeah.
So I am not having luck.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking a little bit down the road here, Rich, and I got a little confession to make. I'm at a friend's house in Florida right now, and I would love to meet you. I don't know if you're up for that.
What area are you at?
St. Petersburg.
Oh, you're a decent ways away.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can drive over if we needed to, but what I was hoping to do, just developing our relationship, and eventually, I would like to set up a little, what do you call it, a nonprofit organization, basically, where we can have people like yourself, and maybe there's some other people that you might know in NASA that are kind of we're in the same situation what you were in, you're kind of disillusioned by the organization.
Yeah, one of my colleagues I know for sure. He was actually one of my best friends there for over a decade. Probably one of my best friends that I've had years of my life. But he still works there. He was actually the one that I had called after I had semi-resigned.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking ahead a little bit too far, but I would like, just to grow and have this organization, you kind of just have, I'm sure there's others there that are disillusioned and really upset the way that the corporation has gone, and who really just want to present science. They don't want to get involved in the money, and they want the truth, basically. And so if we can develop something like that and have that grow, that would be really awesome.
Well, as I said, he's one of the people that is the same as me. It's just he wasn't as boisterous about it when it came to the morality of where NASA had gone. And so he still works there, but I know that he has the same opinion as me. And I almost want to send him some of these links.
Yeah. I just feel like if we build it, they will come. Basically, that type of mentality, And I was thinking of, you talked with Eric before on one of my hangouts. This he's a really smart man, and he has an engineering background, and so he gets involved with radio frequency a lot. And
oh yes, I remember him. Yeah, he was the one that was talking about the figure out basically using a GPS without having a GPS in an area where that was actually very interesting.
And he talks.
Yeah, smart guy.
Oh yeah, and he's.
I started looking up on how we use refraction and just trying to use it to this day. So that was the other thing that I forgot to say. Thank you, by the way, for is that if they do know, if this is as big as it is, one, it worries the hell out of me. Two, is that means that the military is using it. And when you said,
well, that's the thing too. That if they were to take us out, it would just grow more, And I think that's what's actually probably, that's one of the factors that's preventing them from actually doing anything, because they don't want to even validate me whatsoever. And so I really don't think it's I just think it would be kind of ironic, to have this little NDO right next to the Kennedy Space Center, LSC Earth, NDO, and
I never thought that I'd be having this conversation. The funniest part is that I just thought this was just
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like I'm slowly coming to a realization of, okay, if this is true, then that means the higher ups have to know this.
Yeah, they have to know it. Yeah.
And so that part scares me, but at the same time, it doesn't scare me enough to get away from, as I said before, the truth. I always quote that Henry David Thoreau quote. It's one of my favorites. Of life itself gives me truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that is just a thing that I've always held on to since I was in college. It's just, I don't know. So I don't understand the logic of people wanting to hide something like this, but at the same time, I watch some of these, and I'm trying to do my math on it, and I'm going, none of this is making sense.
Yeah.
Kind of nerve-wracking, where you go, so this means a lot of people were lying, and they're using their power
Yep.
strictly for the sake of making money.
Yep.
And that doesn't surprise me. The money part doesn't. The money part doesn't surprise me.
Right.
I've worked for well over a decade, so I've seen what they do. But at the same time, I would have thought they would have come out with this by now. But
Well, there's really there's no incentive from a corporation point of view that's trying to make money, and this is military secret. We're talking. I mean, every country in the world, every military,
right.
they would all know
That's
about.
that's the only reasoning why. As I sit there with my friend, why would they not say it? And I go, okay, this has to be military. This has to do with something. And that's why when you said Eric was talking about the, having to turn light on itself 180 degrees, you would have to do that from all spectrums, every area.
Yeah.
I know that the clothing, and all that. So it was fun speaking with him, but I mean, that's almost physically impossible. It's possible if you have, as you said, the way that you think that the Earth, the universe is built.
Well, keep in mind he mentioned metamaterials, and
right.
there's a process called negative refraction, and if there's a graphite actually can produce that quality, that characteristic. Like if there's in that Libyan desert glass sample that they found, there are like graphite ribbons in there, and so that could be playing a factor in it as well. The way we look at the sky, there's like a negative refraction. I made a video about that before.
These are the things that came from you said the mega cryometers, correct?
No, this is the Libyan desert glass that was found in Egypt. It's like a.
So that's from. So by your theory, that is from the glass.
Yeah. Yeah. I say that's actual pieces of the glass firmament, the glass sky,
Okay.
and
that's the only. That's it. That's the only real. Like I said before, it's the only. I'm trying to think of the word. It's the only other option. I mean,
yes,
context.
right.
And as I was looking up these things, I did some number crunching. It has to be this or the other. That's it. There's only two options.
Yeah.
The way that light just comes, the way that we pick up light with our eyes in general.
Yeah.
There would have to be some form of firmament glass, some form of yeah. So that was what kind of shook me a little with those.
Well, it's just realizing like all these mysteries. Maybe you haven't really heard of the mysteries because what they tend to do is they tend to play them down. Like there's a mystery of the origin of tektites. They don't know if it's coming from the ground or if it's coming from space, because there's holes in both of those concepts. There's a mystery of obviously the Libyan desert glass. Where was that origin from? There's a mystery of.
It would have to be from a nuclear weapon, and they don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that there were nuclear weapons, long ago, basically.
I'm saying in order for enough heat to be in order to do that to sand or dirt, it would have to be a nuclear weapon. But they don't, for the most part. In Libya, they don't even really.
Yeah, and
They
there's
don't do nuclear testing. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, so there's no real solution to the Libyan desert blast.
no, and then
Because it would, yeah.
and then there was when they first discovered, I think his name was Watson Watts. He was from England during World War II. He was a British scientist who discovered that you can bounce radio signals off the ionosphere, and they were really intrigued that they could bounce these signals off, because they were like, well, these signals would have to be experiencing total internal reflection. They would have, it's like you have to be bouncing them. There has to be a hard surface for these signals to
bouncing off of simply an atmosphere.
Yeah,
It would make sense. Yeah.
a plasma cloud of an atmosphere. It would just be absorbed into it, and so it's got to be a hard surface, and so
That was one of the other. When it came to the other things that I was looking up, I was thinking. I didn't think about World War II, but I was thinking about radio waves. Not thinking about missile light waves. And I was thinking about that. There would be no way, the way that we bounce radio waves off of it doesn't work that way when it comes to, as you said, the ionosphere. It doesn't work for any aspect of the entire atmosphere.
right.
Instead, it would dissolve. It would either dissolve or it would, be absorbed. So it's very strange to me now reading into these things, because one, as I said before, it's frighteningly fun.
I know.
New.
Yeah, it's
It's a lot to take in, but
yeah, and then you realize that
it's exciting.
yeah, and then there's another thing called the Luxembourg effect. I think it was around 1930 or so. In Europe, they were sending a radio signal. I think it was from, I want to say, Belgium, and they were beaming it to Switzerland. But they were receiving a signal in Luxembourg, which is like halfway between, and they were just they couldn't understand why it was they were getting a signal in Luxembourg, and so they in the lab they simulated that, or where you can shoot a signal onto a glass rod with little cracks in the rod, and so what it does is those signals are going to hit those cracks, and they modulate, I guess, and so they change directions, and so they can go to a different area basically. And so when we look up, like, you can go into Google Images and just type in auroras, and then you see how they look like above the atmosphere, and you see these lines. They call them striations of the auroras, and so these striations are indicative of what I believe is that there's actually cracks there's like an ice sheet that's attached to the glass. It's all transparent, but these cracks are picking up these striations of the auroras, and so when
That's the reason that we see the auroras the way that we see them.
yeah, and so the Luxembourg effect is directly related to these cracks that are in the ice, and so it's going to modulate the signal, and so that
Yeah, there's a Luxembourg-Gorky effect in radio physics. The Luxembourg-Gorky effect is a phenomenon of cross modulation between two radio waves, one of which is strong, passing through the same part of medium, especially a conductive region of atmosphere or a plasma. That was just a simple Wikipedia explanation, but
yeah.
it's interesting, and it's interesting that they use the word phenomenon.
Yeah. Yep.
It's yet to be explained. Interesting.
And then I can probably send you a link where I show you where I talk about the cracks. I'm looking for that right now. Luxembourg.
There would have to be that would mean that there would have to be as you said, a type of filament on top of the glass. That is in order for the cracks. Now, is that where the Libyan desert comes? The Libyan desert glass comes from? Or is that
Well, that's where I think I think there's like an ice sheet it's super super cold, and they say at the mesopause level, mesopause is going to be right at about 100 kilometers, right before the glass. It's like negative, don't quote me, it's like negative 200 and some odd degrees Fahrenheit. And so there are two states of of ice. There's two states of ice: the amorphous ice and the crystalline ice. And so the amorphous ice it's like looking through glass. It's crystal clear, and that ice forms at super super cold temperatures. And so at that level, if it's connected to the glass at that height, it's obviously it's amorphous. It's transparent. We can't see it. But if a piece of that falls down, like somehow a piece gets jarred loose somehow, and a piece of ice falls down to the ground, it begins descending lower, obviously, to the ground, and it gets warmer. And when it goes through the troposphere, it's gonna crystallize. And so by the time it hits the ground, most of these megacryometeors that they find on the ground are pretty much opaque. They're crystalline, basically, and so that's how that happens.
Just through the heat, yeah.
Yeah, just through the heat. Yeah, and so, I mean, there's no other. I mean, I mentioned to you before when we first talked. There's this one NASA guy. His name is Jesus Martinez Frias, and he's like the main dude for the megacryometeors. He actually coined the term megacryometeors, but it's still to him a mystery. I mean, either that or he's obviously covering up the fact that he knows about the glass. But I mean, this stuff has been these.
If this is true, then that means he's lying. I mean, I don't mean to talk down on. I'm just saying that if he does know this, then because like I said, this is things that I was unaware of.
Right.
And I wish I had informed myself, or at least gathered more information on these things, because I hate to repeat myself, but only one or two. It's either convex or concave. It wouldn't make sense in any other way.
Yeah. Well, I already eliminated convex. I mean, due to atmospheric.
I'm just saying that it's surprising to me with how much information you gather and with how much you. I mean, I don't mean to say the word proven, but as I said, if there's two ways, you've done a very, very excellent job at proving the other. Is what I'm trying to say, I suppose, which is the thing that made me kind of nervously excited, I suppose.
Yeah. Here I pulled this up about the Luxembourg-Gorky effect. It says, where's this article here? If I can find the link for it, that would help. Luxembourg-Gorky effect retooled. Is that the right one? Yeah, retooled for elastic waves, and then it goes on at the bottom of this, or toward the bottom of this article. It has a little diagram of a glass rod with thermal cracks in it, I guess, and it says the crack containing solids. Favorable conditions should occur for the direct elastic wave. Anyway, I'll give you the link to the article, but it's
yes, no, please do. Yeah, I am gonna probably head back to bed. But I wanted to call you back just because I saw you called and did I miss a show or anything? I was like, oh shoot.
Oh no, I jogged along. I was on the beach yesterday. I jogged like 10,000 paces, and I went to bed really early last night. So, but
I think I gotta start doing that myself.
But I flew out early in the morning, and actually with a friend here in St. Pete. But yeah, no pressure. I mean,
St. Petersburg, it's a beautiful, beautiful area too. I've been there only twice, I think, in my lifetime. But yeah, I just wanted to call you back because, like I said, the more and more I start going into these things, like it's just surprising. It's surprising that no one has thought of this.
I know, but it's right there in the Bible. Actually, that's where I first had the hunch to look. I mean,
Like I
there's
said before, I mean, no, I don't know who you are when it comes to that, but if it is, if what you say is true, if it's factual, and I know you believe it is factual. I'm saying that, of course, I'm going to try to disprove it, which is as any mathematician or scientist would do. If I can't disprove something, and I do it multiple times, run it through multiple tests, and I can't disprove something, well, then I'm going to believe it. And so, as I said before, what is a bit humbling and scary is that if you are who you are, or as you claim to be, it's quite scary for me, just as a human person. Do you get my point? It's just a little.
yeah, but I understand your point of view, but don't be afraid of me. I'm just
No, I'm not.
easygoing.
I don't mean afraid of you. I mean
Okay.
it's frightening.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of like you're
Something that I don't completely understand.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's something that I wouldn't be able to understand. It's a bit nerve-wracking. But when it comes to the science, when it comes to the mathematics, and when it comes to the algorithms, it's all quite interesting, scary at the same time.
Yeah.
Very interesting at the same time. It's I don't know. All I can say is, as I said before, is if you are who you say you are. I mean, I always get my Catholic history, I guess, to myself, but yeah, I mean, I always had a spiritual. I never was raised Catholic. I kind of let go of it. But
Well, if I am who I say I am, personally it's been an
I was
awake.
gonna say it's an honor.
No, no, I'm just saying from my point of view,
Very nerve-wracking honor, I suppose.
it's been an awakening experience. It's been a process for me as well. I mean, I had no idea who, if when I was growing up, that I knew I was this person just that I'm claiming to be.
Jesus Christ didn't know who he was either, until 33 years in.
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, it was quite. I went through quite a shocking transformation, traumatic experience. Back about 10 years ago. So,
All I
yeah,
can say is like I said, if you are who you are, or you say you are, I wouldn't be unhappy with someone like you, I guess, because as I said, I'll always stay skeptical and feel I can prove everything, but so far you've done the country quite well, and it's actually astonishing that a citizen like yourself has been able to do this. I'll give you that for sure. Uh, and all I can say is when it comes to the religious side, if you are inclined to be, I'm happy with at least somebody like you, and not somebody that was, well, my French, some kind of asshole.
yeah. Well,
That's all I can say.
it's all based on faith. I even have to have faith in myself. I don't know if I can. I don't feel very supernatural. I don't feel like I can walk on water or anything like that. But I
No,
think
but at the same time, like I said, it's all very new and interesting to me. So
yeah,
I call you and say that it's actually kind of reinvigorated me. I was within, I've been gone from NASA for a little bit now, about a week now. I was just having issues with having the free time, and so this is just giving me a kind of a reinvigoration of things that I want to look into, and
yep,
got me back into my old self, I suppose. So trying to either disprove or prove something, and so far I'm having a hard time proving it. So so it's making me aggravated in a very good way. You see what I'm saying?
yep, yep. Well, good. I'm glad you're excited. Really.
Oh, I get excited when I can't disprove something, because then it makes me want to disprove it even more, and if I can't, then it at all.
Yeah.
Which is even more exciting than anything else.
Right. Right. Cool.
But anyway, but I'll let you go. I'm gonna go ahead and head back to my room. My wife has been looking at me cross-eyed for the past couple of days. We've just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I just say, oh, it's just a friend, buddy of mine, you know.
Yeah, well, you know how women are. They want the security and they don't want anything,
Right,
you know.
right, exactly.
So I know what you're going through there. So, but
I'll probably call you tomorrow. I don't know if you're doing a show tomorrow. I'll try to call in if I can, if I have the free time.
yeah, I could do.
I'll start actually doing some pretty severe number crunching on some of these things, and I'll watch a few. If you can send me a few more links.
Okay.
You can just text me a few more of anything that you think I should know, just because I've been going through a lot of your videos. I think I've watched about 6 or 7 now, and if you have any ones that you think that are crucial to me, you know, maybe just that would help me number crunch some of these things.
Okay.
Just go ahead and text them to me, because
Yep.
very interesting. This is, like I said, this is something that could turn the world upside down if this was true. So.
Exactly. I will do that.
All right. Thank you again, Steve. I apologize to Paul for saying,
No, don't apologize. It's fine. Thank you for calling. I'm glad we talked. All right.
Good night and get some sleep.
You too. Take care.
All right. Thank you again.